Okay. Hi, everyone. So I wanted to come to you after I have finished watching Harry and Meghan. And so for the second half, sorry I'm late. I think I'm a few days late because it launched on Thursday. So I am, I also wanted to start this conversation about slavery because I thought this would be an interesting, they do pick up here. And Uh, I think this is such a hard conversation to have. And I thought they wanted to kind of go and explain why Meghan is so important. The presence of Meghan is so important because we're still living in the shadows of slavery. I know that people don't, says that they want to kind of get that this is a thing of the past and we shouldn't be dwelling on it. And I can understand why people want to feel this way. But the problem with saying that this is a thing of the past and we don't need to be dealing about with it is that this is how the UK has gained their wealth. So much so, I went to the Museum of African American, the African American Museum that's located in Washington, D.C. And they have a fascinating image where they talk about how each country had slaves. And so they list the UK. The UK had transported more slaves than all of the other countries that transported, European countries that transported slaves combined. So I just want to put that into perspective because even before America gained their independence, we were a part of Great Britain, and the number of imported slaves into the United States is also included in Great Britain's number. So Great Britain was the king by far when it comes to transporting slaves all around the world from Africa. So with that being said, and then looking at the various colonies that, of course, America being the one that really, rebuked and developed their own, really developed their own independence. But you had others who kind of broke away, but they're still part of the Commonwealth. So Canada being one, and actually America, little did people know, is that America during the War of 1812, one of they wanted to plot and start encountering, which honestly, this is a failure of Americans' history because the way that America teaches the history, they really don't talk enough about the War of 1812. And they really don't talk about how America at one point attempts to take Canada. Can you imagine if they were successful in taking Canada, the amount of land that would have been? But point of the matter um, is that the remnants of slavery is not only is in the pictures in the halls, it's like everywhere. And so when you have that aspect, um, and it's kind of hard. And then the problem with Meghan is that you know is that she is a reminder that she is a physical reminder. You cannot undo her physicality. That slavery not only existed, but it's and you can absolutely, we can talk about her being half white, half black, fine. But the issue with slavery is that it led to a lot of people who look like her, half black, half white, choice or not choice. So you have all of these mixtures that are taking place, and in some instances, um, she is absolutely much darker. Sometimes, depending on the lighting, she could appear much darker in some cases. Sometimes she can be appear lighter, depending on how much sun she gets. But whatever the case is, you can't deny that she's a Black woman. And I know on Twitter and there's a lot of conversation about how she's not that Black. And to me, I'm gonna let you know that that is a trigger, where you denote someone's Blackness. And so, I mean, the thing is, and people are like, well, she identifies as Black when it's convenient. How do she knows that she's Black. She sees her mother. And I know that it's complicated to try to identify or try to put her in a box. But I think that here's the thing, this experience enlightened her even more about her own race and how being Black, the definition of what being Black is is not always as welcoming. And additionally, it leads you to having some other some other issues that come up where with what race, it leads you to some other issues when it comes to race. So not only can you not escape your 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 denotation of being Black, but and that reminder, but it also means I'm losing my train of thought because my kids are so loud. And my mother is so loud. And anyway, it'll come to me. But I it's interesting to hear, though, as they continue through this episode, through these, especially in episode 4, is how much of a great opportunity it would have been, because Meghan is a compilation of a lot of different people who are most of the people part of the British Empire currently. These colonies are mostly people of color. And so she can easily identify with them because of her being identifying as a person of color. She identifies as that. And I know that people would be more prone to say that they're Black, but I want to pause there for a second, because I think it's important to note that depending on what country you're in, being Black is different. There's different, especially under apartheid, there was different connotations of what the difference between being Black and being colored, right? And so I think that part of this, of her not saying I am that of her not constantly saying I'm a Black woman, is looking at the fact that I am identifying myself with anybody around the British Empire that is a complexion of her, because not everyone is Black. So I think that she's trying to be more inclusive with that language. But I also want to make it known that the people who have been Meghan's biggest supporters, that have been in her corner consistently, over and abundant, have been Black folks. And so, and those who have harmed her the most in this process, including in her own family, has not been Black folks. And so, with that being said, it's definitely going to your personal experience, how people see you, and then looking at how people accept you, and those who have put their arms around you to protect you, not just people that has never met you that protects you, not just the people who who are strangers who are speaking up, people who are on Twitter who are defending you, people who are opening their homes to you, people who are giving you jobs now, people who are doing all of this are Black folks. So not only, and then thinking about Harry's history of Black folks being the ones who have given him refuge at the time that his mom was, you know, that his mom passed away, etc. It is Black folks that have given them this space. And so I think that people need to recognize that aspect of them. So it absolutely has probably pushed her into her identity more, because it is us that is going to embrace you, and we're never going to not embrace you. It is some of these other folks that their embracing is temporal, and they can embrace you in 2.2 seconds and throw you to the wolves in 2.2 seconds, which is exactly what she said. She said she felt like she was fed to the wolves, and it is Black folks who turned around and insulated her from that type of experience. Pause for a second. Sorry. Okay. With that being said, I I also think it's really, really important to note that uh, it's fascinating, and it's true because I've seen it, I witnessed it, how much they have put so much pressure on Meghan as being the problem. And honestly, I don't think people give Harry enough of a benefit of the doubt. Harry is a serviceman. He is a man who is going to protect his family tooth and nail. What I don't understand is why they sell Harry so short. I don't understand why he's being sold so short. Like, he's not going to defend his family. Like, he's not going to be out there, um, being the husband that and the protector. This man was completely affected by his mother, being a father, realizing that his wife is on the verge of considering suicide. And the thing is, when you never know what your thoughts are going to be when you never know what your thoughts are and how you're going to be after having a child. And combine that with the amount of brutality that they have, it's just ridiculous. Now, there's been pushback to their explanation of they just wanted some time for their child together, and how all of these and how they responded to that. And I don't understand the amount of visceral still. And certain people in my comments on Twitter have been like, well, her wardrobe costs a lot of money. Okay. So her wardrobe costs a lot of money as opposed to Kate's. Huh. I mean, and that's going to be the catalyst of why people just don't like her. So she has good taste in clothes. That's a problem. They don't address that on the show. I mean, but at the same token, if we're going to push that on, if people on Twitter are going to make this, and they do mention the Twitter issue and how literally 83 accounts, some of them including her own sister Samantha Markle, is responsible white women for the immense hate, and I have absolutely have been tweeted at for the amount of hate in regards to Megan. It's insane the amount of hate that goes towards her and anybody who defends her. And I am in the mount of block, because it's not going to change the level of opinion. Now, I realize that people are turned off because they do make it seem like everything is this great, fantastic love story, and people clearly want to see what the problems are and the cracks in their love story. Okay. I also am fully aware that people are annoyed by what else are they annoyed by? It seems like so much that they're annoyed by. Um, that they just left and they felt that they should have just stuck it out. Well, they wanted to work for the royal family for free and get their own jobs and live in a different country so they can, and which seems to be a happy medium. To me, it seems like a happy medium, but instead, that wasn't good enough. And I honestly think the only issue that I could see from that is if they're able to kind of make a living by themselves, a nice little living for themselves, and still work for the royal family, then why can't the rest of them? Why are they living off of the taxpayers? That's a legit question. And you also bring up there's some other issues that are lurking that I think are pretty legit. And that is the issue of you bring in, the issue between Harry and his brother William. I do not think that it is because of Meghan, but I do think that it is because Harry's, first of all, Harry himself is more personable than William, point blank. Whoever he married was going to have to be just as dynamic and personable as Harry, point two. Therefore, whoever Harry would have married would have been just as insanely popular and would be more popular than Prince William. Prince William's wife is not as personable. She doesn't really, she's not, and part of it, people think that it's because, Meghan likes to be center of attention. No, she just speaks well. She has causes. She has an opinion. She has an education. And so therefore, she's in a different position. She's also older. She's more grounded. And so therefore, she's going to she's more assertive. And part of, and I think that breeds into part of the level of racism too, that is distributed because she's this Black woman who can formulate ideas and thoughts and can speak out for herself, and people equal people make look down upon those type of look down upon those type of individuals and typecasts, etc. Because that's not how Kate is. At least she's not like that in public. So, with all that being said, the rift between William, and I think that the rift between William and Harry was bound to happen, because I do think part of this is also about the fact that Meghan does get more notice, but it also she's going to get more notice because she's Black, because people who are mostly in the United Kingdom, and they're eager to see Meghan. And so, and she, like I said, she's dynamic, she's charismatic, all of these positive things about her. She gets a lot more attention. And because she's everywhere and she gets way more attention than uh, William and Kate, people aren't, people are a little annoyed by her. And so therefore it caused a rift within behind the scenes. And so um William clearly did not want Harry to leave, and I guess he had very choice words. And I like how Harry is absolutely going to defend his family, which I think is legit, but he also doesn't want to openly say that this is a problem with my dad and my brother. That's not what he wants to say. So he just says senior leaders of the family, senior leaders of the family, and all of these things. And then he also points out, um, the issues between, what he doesn't want to get into specifics about his brother. But the one thing I will say, I know that I am going to be in the minority on this because there's one point that I don't agree. So they have a family meeting when Meghan intentionally she goes back to go be with her son, and they intentionally have a family meeting when she's not present. And so they did this on purpose. They wanted to talk to him without Meghan. I actually, everybody else was there but Meghan, the wife. Kate was there. I honestly would not have minded that because I look at it from my setup where my even though my husband and we do talk to each other about our what's going on with our families, right? But because especially if we're going to be making a change and something happens in their family or my family that changes and alters what we have to do, of course we're going to talk about it. However, my side of the family doesn't always bring in the spouse to have a decision on what's happening within the family. They really are kind of anti that. His side of the family is not anti that. And so they would invite me into those conversations. But if I've been excluded, I would not have a problem with that because I respect the fact that it's this internal family I'm addition to. And I'd also trust my husband to make a decision in regards to his family that, he would make the best decision for us. So I get that she felt, because it's a job, right? So she should be there. And part of me is like, yeah, you should be there. But the other part of me is like, I could see when you're not there. Like I can understand why they completely excluded it because they still don't see you as a, legitimately born into the family. However, I feel like if this is the case, then it should have been all the men. It should have been dad, son, dad, sons there. It should not have been Kate or Camilla. First of all, I'm still um I'm still not digging Camilla. You are the other woman. In my mind, forever and ever, you will always be the other woman. So there. Anyway, so with that being said, I am I understand. I don't completely I understand. It's not that I disagree. I understand though. And so, but I like I said, I understand. My point is, I understand both sides. I am not against the point. I think that all points here are valid. And, but at the end of the day, I don't think that there would have been any way that Harry and Meghan were going to stay in the royal family. And I think that that's kind of how Harry concludes it, where he's like, yeah, I'm just happy. Yeah, it was in the plans for my family to be this, to be living in this particular place, but yeah, I'm happy and my family's happy. And that's what matters. Like, I want to raise my kids in a different space. And I think people need to respect that. Um, yeah, respect it. They're not going to be what you want them to be. Respect it. But anyway, I think it's a good watch. 6 episodes. Um, I think it's a good watch. I think that you will, if you decide to watch it, you'll enjoy it. It's a conversation starter. It's They have a lot of receipts, and it's a great discussion about race. And with that being said, have a great rest of your day.